Would you prefer a straight man or a gay man?
I don't prefer men, so
Oh, you like women?
I like different types of people. So
You mess around with women though?
yes,
You a lesbian?
yes, I identify as queer woman.
You a lesbian?
Jesse Lee Peterson is shocked by this woke indigenous queer woman who claims the patriarchy is oppressive in this clip, as Jesse Lee Peterson interviews this person and is shocked to find out this revelation about her, as she hates on the hetero patriarchy that is straight men. Let's get in.
What does it mean to decolonize the native body?
Well, that's a very detailed question, right? Because one of the things, of boarding schools and of colonization period was to try to make it seem that our bodies are like nasty and not good, right? That they're unclean, they're filthy, right? So I think one of the things we need to do is to start thinking about like how our bodies are good, how we are good people, like how all of us is actually beautiful, instead of like trying to go to like white beauty standards or like not accepting ourselves as we are.
And so are white people making you feel inferior like that?
I'm not blaming that on, it's like, it's part of our culture. Our culture is very white dominated, right? It has very specific white standards of beauty.
So the white, quote unquote, dominated culture are making you and Indians feel less about their culture, less beauty, or they are making you feel that way?
Well, I'm just saying, when you have all the shows, like all the books, almost everything about Native people is very distorted or negative or doesn't actually have anything to do with us, has to do with actually with white people, then it's hard to feel good about your own self and your own body.
You were not raised with both parents, your father and mother, right?
Right.
So do you believe that if you have been raised with both parents and you were close to your father, that you would be insecure like that?
Well, you'll be happy to know that I had a white stepfather.
I'm talking about your real father, though.
Well, I have no idea.
But just when you think about it, when you smoke on it, do you believe that? Do you believe that if you were close to your father, he was there, your mother and father were together, you loved your father, that white people, anyone can make you feel inferior?
No, I don't think that has anything to do with it.
You think you would still feel inferior?
I don't feel inferior.
But the Indians that white people make them feel that way, if they were raised as with two parents, decent examples, would they still be made to feel inferior?
Well, I think we should talk about why they don't get to be two-parent households, right?
Because they're not getting married.
Well, also because Native men, like black men, are incarcerated at very high rates. They're like serving our nation overseas.
They're committing crimes.
So, well, we're more likely to get caught too.
Right, and go to jail because they don't have money to get good lawyers.
Exactly.
So that ain't the white man's fault.
Well, I think it is, actually.
So the white man's to blame for everything.
Well, the thing is, no, because what I'm trying to say too is like working class white people are also not able to get like good lawyers, right?
Right.
But the racial profiling might not go, they might not get pulled over for being, driving while white, right?
But that's not true, that's made up. What the blacks are doing.
Well, that's what you and I completely disagree about that.
No,
so.
I'm black.
I know you're black.
I'm as black as the ace of spades.
Well, how many times have you been pulled over?
In my entire life? Maybe twice. I remember twice.
Yeah. And you don't think racial profiling had anything to do with those situations?
Not one iota.
So.
Because I was raised different than the other blacks. I wasn't raised to hate the whites, blame other people. I wasn't born out of wedlock. I had my stepfather, my mother got married before I was born, so I wouldn't be born out of wedlock. But black people, when I was growing up, black people got married. They believed in God. They loved all people. They treated everybody the same. So I wasn't blamed. I wasn't raised in a victim mentality. And so when I was stopped by the cops, I followed the instructions. They did what they needed to do. They said, thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. And they went their way. But the blacks today are acting out. They're cursing out the cops. They're running. They're criminals. They're running. What do you think going to happen?
Like Jesse Lee Peterson said, these new age of youngsters are crazy violent, extremely aggressive. You see videos of it all over on the internet, constantly arrest. certain individuals just like, a simple trespassing becomes a felony for absolutely no good reason. Like, it doesn't make any sense. And it's just conflict and chaos. And that's what's creating so many more of these criminals. But this woman to even suggest it's because of their race that they get caught more too? Like, I haven't heard of that one before. Like, it's because they're Indian, they get caught. Well, if they weren't committing the crimes to begin with, there would be nothing to catch them in. Right? Like, that is an absurd point. I'm sorry, that is ridiculous. And to blame that against, whites or the system or whatever, like, you are just simply refusing to take responsibility. If there more of them are getting caught and going to jail, it's because more of them are committing crimes. But hit that like button, it helps the algorithm. I appreciate it. And let's get back in.
Well,
How is that the cops' fault?
well, I mean, it's very much. I mean, that's the thing, though. We're talking about structural inequalities that go back before the beginning of the United States. And you're not just going to, like, pretend that these things don't exist. You can. That's one of the ways you can go about
What did you say?
Structural inequalities.
What did that have to do with anything?
Well, if it's way harder for you to get housing, to get a job, to go to college, to have any ways to get ahead, that will make your life much harder to be like successful in the
So
U.S.
are you
version.
saying that it's harder for the Indians or the blacks to get a job?
For both of us.
But the blacks don't get the job because they don't want the job. They're lazy.
I mean, that I disagree. I mean,
telling you.
they say the same thing about Indians.
Because and the Indians are that way too. You know why? Because the white people made a mistake by giving the Indians too much free stuff.
We did not get anything free. They
Yeah, y'all
stole
got free
everything.
land.
No,
You
that
got
land was ours.
Free gambling clubs and all kinds of stuff.
Well, because we're sovereign nations, we get to decide what we want to do on our nations.
But that makes you lazy though.
I disagree.
And the one thing about white people, they love to work. You notice that?
That's not what I've seen. They love to steal
What did they steal?
our land, like our culture. Like, they try to assimilate us. They wouldn't accept that we are the way we are. Like, I mean, I could keep, instilled heteropatriarchy. I mean, all these different things that were very violent systems.
What do y'all want now from the whites? What do you want them to give you?
We've been wanting them to leave us alone for a long time.
But they don't bother you guys. You guys chase
They
them.
do bother us.
How do they bother you now?
They come in and they'll put nuclear waste on our nations without permission. I mean, there's still all these things happening. They will try to put pipelines through our nations.
That's amazing.
Even though we disagree.
But that would provide jobs.
Well, at the cost of destroying the land,
But they're not doing anything with the land anyway.
Well, we don't want a pipeline going over the water source of the whole nation.
Well,
Does that
then
make
y'all
sense?
need to do
Especially when
something.
the white town was like, don't put it through our country, right? Don't put it through our place. Put it on the Indians' land. And that's exactly what they ended up doing.
I need you to define something for me. Heteropatriarchy. What is that?
It's exactly what you think it might be. It's like patriarchy, but then making sure we're talking about heterosexuality.
Straight
too.
men.
So,
And-
just straightness, period.
What's wrong with that?
Well, I think it's a very dominant source that everybody has to try to live up to.
Thank you. You're supposed to live up to it. That's why it's hetero.
Well, I think it's oppressive
They're
to
supposed
everybody.
Heterosexual men are supposed to bring women and children out of the hell that they're in. That's why it's heteropatriarchy.
Well, they're failing, so you better get it together.
Because you guys are acting so rebelling.
Well, then you all are not doing a very good job. So,
I agree.
So-
Men are weak because the mama destroyed them when they were kids.
well, I feel like we have to work together. I don't know why that would be such a bad thing.
Heteropatriarchy, so you're in favor of that?
No.
You're against that?
I critique it, yes. Well, I don't think I'm not completely, people can go and do that, but the fact it creates all this inequality that's the part I think is messed
You
up.
love heterosexual?
Do I love I think people can go be heterosexual. That's great.
What do you mean go be it? Do you love it though?
Do I love it? No.
Would you prefer a straight man or a gay man?
I don't prefer men. So
Oh, you like women?
I like different types of people. So
You mess around with women though?
yes.
You a lesbian?
Yes, I identify as queer woman.
You a lesbian?
Yeah, you didn't. How did you not get this from your research? I do queer indigenous theory. That's my other
But
thing.
I didn't know you were a lesbian.
Well, I identify as being queer.
but you don't look like a lesbian.
Well, what are we
No wonder
supposed
you
to
don't
look
want to have a
like?
baby.
Because I have more
You
options.
are a lesbian?
Yes.
Yeah, queer indigenous theory, another pseudoscience made up BS. I mean, this woman treats heterosexuality like it's an option. Like, oh, you choose to be heterosexual. Oh, you can do that if you want. The thing that keeps the species alive is not really a choice. I mean, it is, but if you don't do it, you just wipe yourselves out. So the fact that we're here means basically we've been choosing to keep the species alive. Like, it's just ridiculous that these people just treat this as a lifestyle or this or that. This is how you grow your population, your nation. Stop pretending it's something other than what it is. It's not normal. Man and woman are supposed to be together in one household and one family, with the man running the show. She can complain about the heteropatriarchy all she wants, but everything she wears, everything in that room, everything she used to get from where she was to him was all built by men. So she can critique it all she wants, but all of the goods, services, infrastructure, all of that came with it because we grew enough men to build all of it. But folks, thanks for watching. Let me know in the comments what you thought about what Jessie Lee Peterson had to say to this woman being shocked to find out that she is in fact a lesbian. Thanks again, like and subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.